Yeah, and I just spoke with the governor, and the governor obviously was here in Springfield the other night and last night, and the governor was obviously in the eastern part of Massachusetts dealing with this emergency, and the governor right now, pardon me while I look over my shoulder, is actually walking down, that's Main Street right down there. He's actually walking down Main Street. We have some video which shows the governor and his walking tour, and I believe he's with Senator Kerry. I know that Senator Brown is there as well, because I spoke to Senator Brown too, but we want to start with the governor and the governor's emotions about being here on the ground in Springfield with this devastation that he's witnessing today.
John. One of the reasons why I wanted to get out last night is because I want to see it myself. Yeah. And I want to be able to do what I can to comfort the families who have been affected.
And shake the hands of the people who went through that, right? Just like that young man just did.
That's right. Last night I went into the... Have you been into Mass Mutual yet?
Yeah.
There are about 300 people sheltered there last night, and many of them badly shaken. And when you see the kids, who are... maybe have a little harder time processing this than the adults. It's helpful to me to be able to reassure them and tell them, it's tough to imagine right now, but we'll get to the other side of this and we'll get to it together.
And in many ways, it's helpful for them too. Every step we go, we learn of the power and the majesty of this storm. Look at this line here. All the wood is coming in this direction. It's coming from the left part of your screen to the right. It's just been, ouch, that hurts. That hurt me. I'm trying to get it out of there. I can't even pull it out of there. That's the ferocity with which it was pulled in there. Look what happened to this. It's an awning, I believe. It's just a piece of awning that was thrown against this pole, and that's what it's doing. It's just there. What's going on right now is the governor is walking down the street. I think you can hear in the background the trucks that are actually shaving up all the tree parts that are on the street. So the cleanup has already begun. It's begun in strength, but there's an awful lot of cleanup that needs to be done to this particular section of Springfield.
Ed, the governor actually had a very, positive and almost hopeful demeanor to him, which I'm sure a lot of people are welcoming. Is he also talking to some of those National Guard members right there that are on the ground with you right where you stand?
Oh, sure. Yeah, he recognizes, obviously, his presence, his persona, his calm will calm the situation. And I have to be honest with you, Bianca, the handful of people that we've spoken to today, I don't want to use the term shock loosely, but obviously they've gone through the trauma of this storm. And what the governor does is he just looks them in the eye and he waits and he's very patient and he calmly shakes their hand, looks into their eye, touches them, and that is very relieving. And while the governor and I were talking, a guy walked up and thanked the governor for being there. So you're right. He recognizes what he can do, but he brings it, and it's very important to people here right now that they see him do it. And he's here, and he's committed.
Ed, we're looking at pictures while we're talking to you of some of the unbelievable devastation. One image that we're on right now is some sort of structure. It looks as if it could be a home. Multi-story, and half of it is just simply gone. Just gone. We've seen damage to the Southbridge Airport as well, which has been pretty extensive. Are you seeing, how much of this are you seeing where you are right now? Maybe you can walk us through the area that you're standing in and what the devastation looks like there.
Well, and it's always important to look at it. Come on here, Timmy. I think we could take the one shot. When we were driving through here last night about 1 in the morning, we didn't see the roof down at the end of Main and Union, but you could see that there should have been a sloped roof there, and that frankly that roof is not there. But even as we've been standing here, Heather, we've looked at this building here, and we're trying to assess what it is. It looks like it's a residential building. They look like they may have been balconies or at least openings where you could put plants on ledges there, and they're completely blown out. Look, if you look in the far window, you can see that the wall has been repositioned. Into what position, we're not quite sure, but it has been completely repositioned. But the picture of the street, and if you can go way up there again, Timmy, and show that's the 4th floor. People lived up there. It's a residence up there. We spoke to the gentleman who lived on the other side of the building. The roof was gone. He lived on the other side of the 4th floor, and he had to stand in a frame to get away from it. I mean, it's such that now here's contrast. We just showed you that building on that side. Look at this building here. This building here is untouched. So Heather, there's a perfect example of a storm that came through with such ferocity it could do damage. And yet here's a building, not a football's throw from this other building, and not an ounce of damage to it.
Eddie,
it's just incredible.
Are you getting a sense? Are they talking at all, or is it just too soon about when they're going to tear some of these buildings down? Because I know that some of those brick structures are buckling.
Yeah. And you see if you look down the street and you see the words vacuum appliance. The brick building that's in the foreground right there, the top of it you can see is shorn and it's ripped. They're very worried about that building. I heard this morning myself bricks settling, bricks moving on that building.
Wow.
And they have asked people to stay away from that building. You can see all the officials down there with the fluorescent neon jackets, the vests. They're making sure that people aren't going to. They are worried specifically about that particular building. Not that many of these other buildings are more structurally safe, but that's the one they're immediately worried about.
Ed, you were showing us some of the debris that was taken and then scattered across the neighborhood there. I mean, we're talking insulation hanging from trees. I mean, there's a furniture store there, that Dave's Furniture, a lot of windows and glass. What other types of debris are you seeing just completely littering Main Street?
Bianca, I'm glad you said that. Timmy, this is the one thing that our photographer, Tim, Mary Salat, and I have noticed this all morning. And we're walking in the middle of, look at this, it's everywhere. This is slate. This is slate. Now, it obviously came off roofs, and I'm going to put it down. Imagine if that came flying down. If you're walking down the street, if you're trying to take shelter from it, and some piece of this came flying off and flying towards you, this is everywhere. This is everywhere. And it just underscores the danger of that moment, the moments that went through Springfield here yesterday.
Did the governor have any insight, Ed, when you were talking to him about yesterday? We were reporting, or late last night, that 33 people were injured in Springfield and had gone to the hospital, and 5 of them were in surgery. Have you heard anything about those folks?
He has not shared any of that information with me. Our conversation only he touched very briefly on the fact that it claimed lives, and he was humbled and sorry for that. And that's as far as our conversation went. So I'm sure we will have more information on that as the day goes through. But the governor is very aware of those who were injured in it.
We also saw Senator John Kerry along with the governor there as you were walking Main Street there, and he postponed his trip to London so he could survey this damage.
Yeah. He was here last night too, Bianca. I mean, it's not this is not something that you take lightly. This is not something that you would think, oh well, the people who work in the state or people who work for the people of Massachusetts shouldn't be here working for the people of Massachusetts. This is a major event, and you obviously have the sense of it when you see it on television. But when you stand here on the ground, and when the wind blows in your face, and when it's blowing particles into your face, that I keep looking down to make sure a piece of that slate does not come flying down the street, because it's still windy around here. It really gets your attention. So it's quite devastating. Are you?
I live right there, and I watch. I live.
You live where?
See where the wall's destroyed? My apartment's right underneath that.
Right underneath that? Show that to me if you would, please. Which from the top? 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, the second one down.
The second one down.
Right.
All right. Now, did you go through the storm?
I was standing on my deck.
Where's your deck? Is your deck right there?
Right there.
All right. So you're standing right there when it went through?
I was having a coffee, watching a thunderstorm, and all of a sudden that building started peeling away. Then this whole one just started. I figured it was a tornado right about, when this one started.
Did you see a tornado?
Yeah. I actively watched it twist and go through and go up the hill. Once it passed me, I figured I was all right on my deck.
This building just...
I watched it peel away.
And you saw all those bricks come tumbling down?
It was arguably one of the scariest things I've ever seen.
How did you... What was your first thing you did when you saw that come through?
I watched it for a little bit, then thought, I should probably not be on my balcony. And I went to the middle of my apartment. And it's a solid old building. It was a factory for years. It's solid. I figured if I get in the middle, I'm all right. My windows are open, so I'm getting ventilation through it, so I wasn't getting any damage.
Right.
And then I immediately came outside after it passed to see if I could help out. Me and a bunch of other people in the neighborhood were pulling things out of the way and kind of getting cars out, making sure nobody was hurt. I did a walkthrough through my building.
Is your place inhabitable?
Oh, no, it's fine.
It's fine.
There's no damage whatsoever in my apartment.
That's amazing.
I didn't break a glass.
That's just amazing. And yet,
and 100 feet away.
100 feet away.
Yeah, it's about 100, 120 feet. Was just completely destroyed.
Well, tell us your name, please.
Thomas Cox.
Thomas, I'm Ed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're well. You look great.
Yeah, we're good. Thanks.
So there's a first-hand account of what happened in that building right there yesterday as the storm went through. And I got to tell you, it's a little uncomfortable with this wind kicking up. I mean, it's lovely out here, but it's a little uncomfortable with the wind kicking.
Uncomfortable, but I mean, the sun is shining, Ed, and obviously that is going to be good for progress that they need to make with that recovery. And we continue to look at Sky 5 here, showing us pictures of the devastation.
And these pictures that you're looking at with all the folks coming out, Ed, go ahead, and I know you need to gather some more information, so we'll let you do your job, and then we'll come back to you in a little while. This is Southbridge. And it's just the sheer totality of the devastation here is breathtaking. And you're looking at people who are coming out to witness it. This morning, you see one home that's off its foundation completely, just obliterated, shattered into pieces, and then some that are right next to devastation, and yet they appear to be, well, I was going to say largely unscathed. There's a wall missing from that home. The Red Cross had said that there were some 50 people in shelters in Southbridge, but some of these communities, 50 to 100 homes in a neighborhood have been either destroyed or severely damaged, and you're definitely getting a sense for how destructive these tornadoes were in the Southbridge community.
And some have been completely blown apart. Others have been shifted off their foundation, flipped over like we're seeing here. And Steve Lacey has been with us all morning long before the sun was up in one of the hardest hit communities of Munson. Steve, you're getting some incredible eyewitness accounts of what people lived through yesterday.
Well, it's just an absolutely remarkable sight. People have been up since early this morning, walking around, taking it all in. It's really a hard thing for them to process right now. You can imagine if you lived here your whole life. I'm here with Peter, who has lived in Munson his whole life. Bill, who's lived here since the 60s. Gentlemen, just give me your impression of what you're looking at and seeing here this morning, one at a time here.
Devastation. Our landmarks are gone. A lot of houses are gone. We're thankful that we don't know of anybody who, no fatalities. We've heard of some people going to the hospital, but I mean, no loss of life, no major injuries. We'll rebuild. Yeah. This is our town. This is our Munson, you know. Yeah. We'll get by.
Now, Bill, tell me, I mean, no loss of life is unbelievable if you take a look around. There are so many homes completely leveled. I mean, give me your impression of how lucky in many ways the people here were.
It's unimaginable.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to compare it with the 55 flood.
Mm-hmm. Is that the most comparable event that you can compare to the devastation we've seen here?
Yeah. 55 tore the town up. This was dirt. It washed out.
You know,
all of Main Street was gone, washed out. And we rebuilt.
Right. And, we're right here across from this beautiful landmark church. What do you see when you look at that steeple on the ground?
I cry. For miles, when you come into this town from the north, from the south, from the east, you see this steeple. You know when you see that steeple that you're in Munson. It's gone. It's gone. And other steeples in the churches are gone. One, they just put a new steeple up and it stayed up.
Yeah.
So, but trees were snapped like toothpicks, houses off their foundations, houses flattened, people were pulled out of their cellars.
Yeah.
We hear a lot of stories from our friends who, shaken up, but hey, we're here. We're lucky, we could be in Missouri, and we're not. We're here in Massachusetts. We're here in Munson. We love the place. It's dear to our heart. I'm sure that the people are going to rise to the occasion, and we're going to be back on our feet.
I mean, who would ever thought, though, seeing those images out of Joplin, Missouri, a week later we'd be dealing with anything on that level? It's unbelievable.
No way. Tornadoes don't happen in Massachusetts.